Okay, so this right here is proof that no matter how perky something is, eventually it's going to sag. Hooters, which started in 1983 and grew to become this massive company making over $1 billion a year by 1998, but now the company's basically completely collapsed where they've gone through bankruptcy and are looking to close a lot of stores, and I'm just wondering why they died. Hooters had all started on April 1st, 1983, where six friends who were local business owners in Clearwater, Florida, started the business as a joke, thinking it would be an absolute failure, but they said they just wanted to do it because they wanted a bar where they can be as inappropriate as possible and not get kicked out. Just to show how little confidence they had in it, they even called it Hooters because of a Saturday Night Live episode with Steve Martin where he started making the joke about large breasts, so he called them Hooters instead of the other word. Also put the business in the cheapest location they could find in the area, which was an abandoned nightclub, and because they were so confident they were going to fail, they began setting up tombstones in the front for all the previous businesses that tried to make the spot work and fail. But to their shock, it wasn't a failure, and then in their second year in business, they got a big boost because right after the 1984 Super Bowl in Tampa, John Riggins, who was one of the football players who won the game, stopped by Hooters because he needed some late night food, so all the press covered it, and Hooters was on the map at that point. And then from there were a couple other things that helped out Hooters, with the first one just being how bad it was to watch sports on TV at that point, where not a lot of networks would play sports, only 20% of people had cable, and networks would even do things called blackout hours, where they would ban sports being shown in certain regions because they wanted people to buy the tickets instead. And the other thing Hooters had going for it was they were really the ones that introduced chicken wings to the Florida market, because during this time, chicken wings were a really niche thing where they were created in 1964 at the Anchor Bar in Buffalo, New York, but they didn't spread around the country yet, so Hooters really brought them there and introduced them as cheap bar food. Just that the owners would eventually sell the business when it was somewhat profitable to somebody who did a much better job, and then in 1998 they ended up with 700 locations and over $1 billion in revenue, but the issue is from that point on things really started to decline. First issue being that their business model of hiring hot girls to be waitresses actually had a lot of legal risk to it, where in 1997 they were sued and had to settle for $3.8 million because a bunch of men who were waiters were saying they were discriminated against because they couldn't apply to work at Hooters. Then the next problem was just the rise in the price in chicken wings, where in 1964 when chicken wings were created, it was the part of the chicken that they'd always throw out, so they were really cheap. But then cut to 2000, chicken wings are starting to get more and more popular, so the price is starting to blow up, where they were 70 cents per pound in the year 2000, but now they're $3.50. So because of that, chicken wings can't be sold that cheap, which really hurts the idea of this being a bar food. To make things worse, there was also the pandemic. Because so many people were getting takeout and ordering chicken wings, the price absolutely blew up, going up 180% in just 1 year. Then also at the same time, they just had a lot more competition in the wing market, where Wingstop only had 500 locations in the year 2010, but they had a massive growth during the 2010s, going to 1,900 by 2019. And also at the same time, the other places like Buffalo Wild Wings and many more were just more women friendly, so Hooters was suffering in that department. And worse, Hooters wasted tens of millions of dollars trying to compete with Wingstop by introducing Hoot Wings, which was their version of a fast food Hooters. But the issue was without the sexy waitresses and also overpriced wings, they just didn't compete. People at the end of the day just got really sick of sticky menus, overpriced wings, and waitresses that would just pretend to like you, and the business ended up filing for bankruptcy, and they're going to shut down a lot of stores. And with that, I'm Charles Pearl. Subscribe, learn something.